Paper-based accounts payable processes are inefficient and do not provide the internal controls your organization requires. If you are still routing paper-based vendor invoices, check requests, and expense reports, you are aware of the challenges associated with payment authorization processes that rely upon paper. Tracking the status of open invoices. Obtaining timely approval of vendor invoices, check requests, and expense reports. Ensuring that your payment authorization policies are being adhered to at all times. Incomplete view into your organization's pending liabilities. And lastly, maintaining a paper-based filing system. More importantly, paper-based processes do not enable you to leverage your investment in today's technology to reduce your operating costs. Welcome to Accounts Payable Processing the PN3 way. Discarding paper-based processes provides a new world of efficiency and internal controls, transforming your accounts payable department into an unexpected profit center. Electronic approvals. Access from anywhere at any time. Guaranteed adherence to your payment authorization policies. Real-time view into all pending liabilities. No more paper to file. And maybe most importantly, like many benchmark organizations, your new efficiencies enable vendor terms that will reduce your operating costs. Let's take a look at accounts payable processing the PN3 way. Pamela Hood, the AP specialist, has received paper invoices and invoices electronically via email. She is ready to route the invoices to the appropriate managers for review. She scans the paper invoices. Pamela routes each invoice to the appropriate manager to initiate the workflow. Pamela also routes the invoices received via email to the appropriate manager. Let's track an invoice sent to Mary Jones through the workflow. Managers are notified via email when invoices are added to their PN3 task list. Upon receipt of invoices, managers are able to take one of the following actions: code and approve the invoice, reject the invoice, route the invoice to another user without taking action. Mary decides to code and approve this invoice. Mary selects Add New Coding. The coding in PN3 will be set up to mirror the coding functionality in your ERP. Depending upon your requirements, users are able to enter or select a string containing all segments with descriptions, or select each segment with description in a separate field. In this example, Mary is creating a single line of distribution equal to the invoice amount. However, multiple lines of distribution are permitted. After entering the coding, Mary approves the invoice. Your policies will drive the workflow. The invoice amount is $10,000 and Mary's approval limit is $1,000. So this invoice will automatically route to her manager, Susan Hines, for review. Susan is notified via email when invoices are added to her PN3 task list. Upon receipt of the invoice, Susan is able to see that Mary has approved the invoice. Susan is able to take one of the following actions: send a note in PN3 to initiate a discussion with Mary or another user, edit coding if necessary, and/or approve the invoice, reject the invoice, or route the invoice to another user without taking action. Susan decides to approve this invoice. The invoice amount is $10,000 and Susan's approval limit is $25,000. So this invoice will automatically route back to Pamela Hood, the AP specialist. The invoice appears in Pamela's task list. Pamela retrieves and reviews the invoice. Pamela is able to see that Mary and Susan have approved the invoice. Pamela is also able to review the invoice coding. The invoice has been approved by a manager with an approval limit equal to or greater than the invoice amount, so Pamela is able to approve the invoice for submission to your ERP. Pamela decides to approve the invoice. Upon approval by Pamela, the invoice is exported seamlessly to your ERP as an unposted voucher. No data entry is required. Check requests. If your organization is like most, there are times when staff will request payment to vendors without an invoice. Our check request form is designed to address this requirement. Mary needs a $3,000 check for a vendor as a deposit for some products she just ordered. Mary opens up the PN3 check request form to submit her request. She selects the vendor and completes the form. After completing the form, Mary routes it to her manager, Susan, to get the check request approved. Upon approval, the check request will be automatically routed to an AP specialist. Staff reimbursement for expenses incurred on behalf of the organization is commonplace for many companies. Our expense report form addresses this requirement. Mary Jones. Mary is ready to submit an expense report. Mary opens up the PN3 expense report form to submit her report. Mary completes her expense report. Mary selects Add Documents to attach her receipt. She attaches her receipt. After attaching her receipt, Mary routes her expense report to Susan Hines for approval. Upon approval, the expense report will be automatically routed to an AP specialist. Staff often have the need to check on the status of transactions, to answer vendor questions, budget research, or to review pricing. PN3's invoice retrieval functionality is ideal for this requirement. Mary Jones. After receiving an inquiry call from a vendor, Mary wants to see if an invoice has been paid. Mary selects the vendor name and enters the invoice number to retrieve the invoice. Mary is able to see that the invoice is fully approved and that the payment has been processed. Now let's take a look at what a few of our PN3 customers have to say about our PN3 solutions. Jada Campbell, Alvernia University's controller, implemented PN3 in 2008.
No longer routing paper invoices means the use of interoffice mail to distribute invoices has been eliminated. The workload for all involved has been reduced. Our AP department and managers are able to quickly determine the status of every invoice at all times. Everyone is accountable now. We can easily see what is holding up an invoice. Not having to file paper invoices has saved us a considerable amount of time. No one has to get up from their desk to go through the files to find an invoice. The PN3 team goes above and beyond to support our account.
Ladine Berry, in Benedictine College's business office, has been using PN3 since 2011.
I would definitely recommend this product. Going paperless with this PN3 has improved our processes, internal controls, timing of payments, and budget management, just to name a few. Customizing the software to meet our specific needs has been painless with the help of our support team, who really know their product and are a pleasure to work with.
Diane Rubenstein, Epilepsy Foundation's controller, implemented PN3 in 2008.
Our company has found the PN3 for Payables systems to be very easy to implement and use. Our managers love the ease of use and the ability to approve electronically, even if they're away from the office. In addition, the PN3 team has been very quick to correct any problems or errors and have been receptive to adding features that we felt we needed for our business processes. PN3 gives managers the ability to search for their own invoices, which saves us time.
Debbie Waterlander in the Landing Association's business office has been using PN3 since 2009.
Our AP department and managers are able to quickly determine the status of every invoice at all times. This is especially helpful when I'm trying to close out the month. I can find invoices and get them processed and paid for the month. I love not having to search for paper invoices in file cabinets or finding files that staff has pulled out for review. The PN3 applications are very easy to use and have worked very well for us. I would definitely recommend them to other organizations.
Patricia Page, ASCO's controller, implemented PN3 in 2011.
The staff in our departments now have control over the invoices they are processing. They can check on the status, get the check number, put in the description field, etc. All makes for a very happy group. It also has improved overall efficiency in AP processing tremendously.
Visit pn3solutions.com today to register for a webinar, request a demo, or speak with a representative.